Alright, hello everyone, and welcome back to another Limbus Company video. Today we're going to be using the middle team, because I feel like it, and also be beating the mirror dungeon with only counter skills. Now technically speaking, it's not true counter skill only, because both Middle Otis and Heathcliff, specifically, you cannot use either of them if you are exclusively using counter skills, because Heathcliff will always use an unopposed skill 1 whenever a middle identity is hit, and Otis, well, she uses her time to unpack skill whenever she uses her skill 3, which, yeah, in the middle team, that's always going to happen. So I guess technically speaking, you could use middle Otis, you just couldn't use the full middle team. Because the second you get the 6+ Envy Absolute Resonance, she uses time to unpack, and then, yeah, that invalidates the counter only, but, whatever. It's counter only, but with 3 exceptions to that rule. That being, Otis's time to unpack, Heathcliff's skill 3, and also Heathcliff's complete and total extermination when he gets to use that, because he can't use that as his counter skill, and I don't know, I just want to use it anyways because it's fun. In either case, this strategy is very, very powerful. Well, not even really this strategy, just this team, honestly. It really does show a lot how powerful the middle are when they're in the full team. Because, yeah, middle Otis, it's very, very difficult for her to actually fully unbox her sword. It's very difficult to actually achieve that. Because it takes like 5+ turns, and if you're using the middle team properly, then everybody is spamming their skill 3s every single turn, and that's just a lot of damage. So unless you're fighting like a really, really tanky enemy, or just a boss that has a lot of health and is designed to be actually difficult, then this team can just beat everything very, very quickly. I mean, the Ardor Blossom Moth here is probably one of the hardest fights in the mirror dungeon, at least early on, that this team can actually that this team could potentially fight against. And it has nothing to do with the Moth itself, and more so just the burn that it applies, since, yeah, you can spread the damage out very efficiently with the middle team. And then also, because they all of the good ones anyways, they all have the ability to just gain shield when they're low on health. It's really difficult for them to take damage, really. And so, the best way for them to actually end up losing health is by passive effects such as burn, and the Ardor Blossom Moth is literally one of the best enemies at inflicting burn. It does it so easily. It's literally impossible to avoid all of the burn damage that it inflicts. Even an evade can't do it, which is really impressive. But even still, the Moth is really no threat to the middle team. A lot of it has to do with, like, Otis. She really is ridiculously powerful. Even without fully unboxing her sword. And then we have the sweepers. The semi-canon fight here of the middle versus the sweepers. Only Otis and Ishmael, they don't really make sense to be here in context, but everybody else is canonically here. The sweepers are also, like, kind of obnoxious when you're actually doing counter only. Not really because they do a lot of damage, but because their wrath skill, it inflicts same turn Paralyze, which is pretty much completely useless for every single identity that you could be using, except for ones that are mainly utilizing counter skills. Because you'll almost always be faster than the sweepers, and therefore same turn paralysis does literally nothing. But because we're always attacking after the sweepers, it means that paralysis is always going to activate and reduce the damage output that we're capable of dealing. And there's nothing you can do to avoid it either, other than just kill the sweepers early with some kind of AoE attack, mostly coming from Heathcliff. I'm pretty sure he's the only one who has any attack weight in this team. I like the fact that his music just stays active during the transition period. That's very nice. Makes it feel more alive. Yeah. Counter only. Not particularly difficult if you're using specifically the middle team. Like, maybe if you ban the use of the middle, then counter only would be somewhat difficult. But then counter only wouldn't really be fun because you're only hitting enemies with like random single coin skills that aren't very flashy and don't really do anything interesting. So it's like, yeah, it would be harder, but it also would be very boring and tedious, so the middle's better. Definitely my favorite team type in the entire game, which is kind of unfortunate because, yeah, having the middle actually power up, specifically Otis, it's very hard to get her to, like I've said, it takes a while for her to unbox her sword fully. So long, in fact, that pretty much only fights like the sweepers give her the opportunity to even do that in the first place. Honestly, though, middle Heathcliff is the best addition to the entire middle team, like, at all, out of every single one, and probably he will stay the best addition to the middle team no matter what middle identities we get in the future, specifically because he has the capability of changing the music. It's just such a unique effect that's honestly really fitting for the middle, and I doubt they'd ever add it to another middle identity. Unless the middle identity is like really significant for some reason or another. But in any case, middle Heathcliff will always be a substantially significant identity because he was the first identity to introduce the concept of changing music in the first place. Which means that all of our identities in the future have the possibility of being even more aura monsters than they already are.
모두가 말한 대로 방어적인 대응은 확실히 전면전보다 피해는 적. 하지만 이래서야 환상체에게도 있는 힘껏 찔러놓고 으깨놨지만 저것들은 언젠가 다시 재생하겠지.
마침내 돌아왔구나. 나의 스페셜 헤어 쿠폰! 혼자서 그 절묘함을 구현해보려 해도 도무지 완벽해지질 않았지. 이제야 발 뻗고 잘 수 있겠어. 얘들아, 철수다. 오늘은 이 형님이 쏜다.
And that's how I beat Mirror Dungeon 7 hard using only counters on the middle team. Mostly counters on the middle team, with some unopposed attacks sprinkled in between. Not that bad, not that difficult, never was going to be. The middle are super fun to play with. Definitely one of the best team compositions, in my opinion. And every single new addition to their roster is always going to be a good time. Anyway, that's it for me. Like and subscribe for more videos like this one, and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.